So before I start this video, I want to give a shout out to Limbs Shoes. They're based in Boulder, Colorado, my home state, and they're a longtime supporter of mine. So, why is the Scuba channel talking about shoes? Well, as you know, I'm also a traveler. You got to travel the world for diving if you want to go to the best spots, and that's what I've been doing. These just happen to be the best travel shoe I've ever had, and I've tried a lot. And when I say travel shoe, I mean super lightweight, super comfortable, easy to pack, all that. So before you think that's bullshit, let me show you these. These are my old shoes. They're Limbs Primals, the first ones, and they've been, I would even dare to say these Limbs have been to more countries than probably any other Limbs on the planet. They've probably been to like 70 countries at least. You can imagine how many airports that is, dive centers, hikes to dives. I mean, you name it. These have been everywhere, and they're still super, super awesome. I love them because they're lightweight. I have so many dive equipment and stuff I have to travel with, and these fold up to like nothing. And this is super dirty, whatever. But I think they're like 4 ounces or something like that. So they feel awesome. Oh, 2 ounces, all right. But it's hard to describe. They have super wide toes, and it's just the lightest material, but still supportive and super comfortable. So it's the only shoe I can make, I can actually promote. I would feel comfortable promoting. So during the pandemic, they sent all the way from Colorado the Primal 2s. So I'm super excited to open this box. I love those Primal ones. I've had them so long, so many countries. Oh, these are beautiful. So here they are. Oh my god. Yeah, just little design changes from the Primal ones. I'm telling you. Oh, these are beautiful. They're just as lightweight, same material, maybe a little different, little bit different design, but I love these things. These things I will wear, like I have to walk a long way to get to our dive resort or even our dive sites. They're super rocky and everything, and I'm not going to wear my dive boots everywhere. But just getting back and forth from the dive centers, the dive sites themselves, on boats, I mean, super awesome traction. These are the best shoe ever. These are the only shoes that actually, besides the other Limbs, these are the only shoes that I own. Because we travel so much, I don't actually own other shoes. I'm not going to pack that stuff. You know, I need room for dive gear, not shoes. So these are, I could only have the best because I'm only going to have one. So, yeah. Super shout out to Limbs for sending these to me. These are awesome. They also sent some to my wife, and they're blue. Do you have those? They're also awesome. She's been wearing them everywhere, but that's a cool color, blue. So yeah, I don't normally shout out shoe companies and things like that, but these guys are way too cool not to mention. They're super lightweight, and these are the best. These are the only shoe that you can recommend to a diver when he's not in the water. So there you go. Thank you guys. Thank you Limbs for sending these, and let's get into the video.
Critter Hunter.
A little while back, I asked you guys on YouTube and on Instagram to ask me anything. I was going to do a question and answers video, and that's what this is. So you guys send in all your questions. There's too many to do in one video, depending on my answers, I guess, but I'm gonna try to do that. I got them written down here, so let's get into it.
Has anything ever scared you while you were diving?
Has anything ever scared me while diving? I'm assuming you're talking about like a critter, and the only thing I can think of that's ever, I wouldn't even say scared me, but kind of startled me for a second, is dolphins. I hate dolphins. I like sharks. I like whales. I like everything else you can think of, except for dolphins. One time I was in Egypt and I turn around. We're at like 20, 30 meters, and I turn around, and this dolphin was coming right at my face really, really fast. And it was my first dolphin. It was huge. Seeing it out there in the black coming right at me, it was a little bit scary for like 2 seconds. But then I saw my friend take off, and I asked her later, why are you scared of dolphins? And she said that on one of her previous dives, the dolphins were actually too friendly, and they started hitting her with their nose, and they broke her dive buddy's ribs, and they had to surface. And the dolphin wasn't even being mean. It was like trying to get petted. It was weird situation. So ever since then, I've stayed away from stupid dolphins. I'd way rather go diving with sharks. Other than that, Titan triggerfish could.
Have you ever had a scary moment while diving?
Oh, so have I ever had a scary moment? Yeah, I've had a lot of scary moments. I mean, I'm not trying to scare people off diving because I have like 2,000 dives, so the scary moments are a tiny percentage. But I'm making a podcast right now about some of my scuba travels. I think my first one is up already about when I was doing my dive master in Egypt and I got put in jail. That was kind of scary. Another one I'm about to do that's not up yet is about when I got separated from the boat. The boat lost us, and we were floating in Mexico offshore in the Gulf for like an hour before we got found. That was a little scary. I've also had equipment malfunctions and stuff like that. So you're going to have to... This would be a really long video if I told you all those stories, so you're going to have to wait for those podcasts.
Can you teach scuba diving?
I'm pretty sure... Yeah. Okay, Kevin? Okay? You wanna go? Oh.
Hey Justin, I would love to know what it is you do that allows you to travel abroad, stay for extensive amounts of time, and dive your ass off.
Okay, this is a long question. What I do, how I go dive. Actually, I get this question the most often. So, basically, it's my business. That's why I get to dive all the time, travel all the time. Now that I'm married, I kind of slowed down, even though the wife comes with me a lot. We just, in general, we travel less just because I'm worn out. But yeah, that's our business. We own artofscubadiving.com as well as Critter Hunter on Instagram. And before that, we actually owned a really popular travel blog. And I traveled all over the world for that. I mean, tourism boards fly you to Indonesia, Dubai, Kenya, Mexico. I've been to 90 countries now. And it's usually tourism boards. They fly you and they pay you to make a video or make articles about their location and promote their location to my audience. Or else it's brands that I would work with. Like I worked with Marriott. They sent me around to promote diving and once like a whole bunch of their locations. Star Alliance. Not all partnerships are paid. Like I was an ambassador for Patty for a few years, and they they gave me free courses like frogfish speciality and all weird stuff like that. I get gear from Aqualung, Dive Computer, you name it. They just send me gear to review. There's going to be a lot of gear reviews coming now that I started YouTube. YouTube's just another platform that I can build alongside our website like a business. It's just another platform where I can promote my sponsors and partners. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's my business. That's why I get to do what I do.
What led you into diving? Did you start at an early age?
Oh, so what led me to diving? To be honest, my very first my very first memory of anything scuba related was in kindergarten. I was in kindergarten and they had these show and tell days, and one of our teachers came in as a scuba diver, all dressed up, all the gear and everything. And that got me, he looked like an awesome Navy SEAL or something, all the gear and the masks and the tanks. And that got me hooked, somewhere in my head. Years later, maybe when I'm, 13, I used to go to Lake Powell every year with the family. And one year, our friend brought scuba gear, and he took me scuba diving at Lake Powell. Probably the worst place to dive. We found, a battery, a car battery. But that got me seriously hooked. So then in 2010, with my university, we were planning a trip to Southern Africa, like Malawi, Mozambique, South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe. And we all decided to get scuba certified in Mozambique because it was whale shark season, humpback whales, manta rays. We're like, this is the best place ever, and we all got certified. So that's kind of a funny story. One of the students in our class, he was only getting certified as an accomplishment because he had a super bad phobia about being underwater. So yeah, that's actually a funny story. We were he was hyperventilating the whole time. It was, I guarantee he never got back in the water, but he got certified. So that's what got me certified. And after getting certified in Mozambique, it was just like an addiction. I was starting to build my business that I was talking about earlier around travel, and now it started to evolve around scuba diving travel. So I started on my old website, and I think also my current website, artofscubadiving.com, before I sold my old one. It was the top 100 dive locations in the world, and once I launched that, it got really popular, and tourism boards started flying me to their location. They would see their location on my list, okay, you got to come here and mark it off your list, show your viewers, so they're flying me out to Australia or Indonesia, Thailand, Maldives, whatever, Kenya. I was diving in the aquarium in Dubai. It just went crazy for a lot of years, and yeah, that's what got me into diving.
Have you ever encountered shark under the sea? How do you deal with it?
Yeah, we definitely think about sharks a lot different. I think because I look for sharks. I love sharks. I love diving with them. I love filming them. My wife is in trouble because she just destroyed one of my hard drives that had all my shark footage from Sipadan, Borneo, Malaysia, and Indonesia, like Raja and Pat, where I saw walking sharks walking on the shore, as well as wobbegong sharks, which are my first wobbegongs, and I saw 11. And I've never heard of any scuba diver ever being killed by a shark. You always hear about swimmers and divers being killed because they're floating on the top. And honestly, I'm a little scared if I'm in a really sharky great white area and I'm swimming on the top. Yeah, I'd be a little scared then. But for diving, when you're down there face first and they're eye to eye, it's not scary. It's hard to explain. But yeah, I've been on bull shark dives in Mexico where you just sit there and all the sharks swim around you and push you out of the way to get to the feed. I've been on cage dives in South Africa where huge great white sharks would just look right at me and be scared and take off. Yeah, I've been with loads of sharks. Of course, whale sharks. They shouldn't be scary to anybody. Yeah, I hope that answered your question. It's just I try to run into them. They're not a problem.
How does it feel to be underwater in the water and see all these lovely creatures? I have to ask it since I can never be a diver. I'm too chicken for it.
I really don't know how to answer that. It feels like serenity, like calm. There's no traffic. There's no honking. There's no nagging wife. there's nothing going on. All you can hear is like the little crackling of what's going on underwater, and you're floating there. You're weightless, and then so it's really serene and quiet. But then for me, it's like the ultimate form of exploration. Like I traveled the world for a long time without diving, but then I figured like any true blue explorer needs to be a diver because 70% of the world is underwater, and when you go underwater, you're exploring things that nobody's ever seen. I've been on the same dives 3 times in a row, back to back, and seen different stuff every time. And then I get an extra thrill. I mean, I'm just talking for myself, but I get an extra thrill when I find something really rare or really camouflaged that I'm not supposed to be able to find. It just gives me an extra thrill to be able to film something that a lot of people haven't seen. So, I don't know. I guess that's it. If you're not into fish and that kind of thing, just diving. I've been on dives where people don't even pay attention to what I'm seeing. They're just floating and enjoying the serenity. Being weightless, not being able to talk, not being able to hear people talk, not hearing anything else. Just, yeah, it's super calm. Some people dive for different reasons.
Give us a yarn on your first ever dive experience.
My first dive, I kind of answered this. My first dive was technically at Lake Powell in Utah, but my first real dive where I was getting certified was in Mozambique, and I was really, really natural. So my instruction went fast, but it was a group of 5 people, and most people went fast. Like we did our skills right away first time, except for our one friend who was super, water phobia or whatever. So it took forever just to get him down to the 5 meters to kneel on the sand to do the skills for the course. And then when he was finally there, we had to hold him down, and the instructor was we would do our skills real quick, and then 5 minutes or 10 minutes for each skill for that guy. So it was a lot of boredom. We're just like sitting in a circle, just watching, and because this guy's hyperventilating just from being on the water, like all his bubbles, like constant breath, like in and out, in and out, in and out, trying to go to the surface, which is the biggest no. So it was a little boring, but still awesome. Like it was just awesome being underwater and doing it right. My first real dives after that, like as already certified, I went to Malawi after that and dove in Lake Malawi, which is super remote, I guess. There's nothing to see. It's really bouldery bottom, super clear water, and then that's where African cichlids come from. If you go to the, pet store and you get those glow-in-the-dark African cichlids, that's where they come from. Lake Malawi and one other lake in Africa. So you would do a night dive and you'd shine your light, and there's all these glow-in-the-dark fish. It was awesome. So I guess that's kind of one of my first dives as well.
I would like to dive in Raja Ampat. I know a liveaboard may be the best option, but my wife doesn't dive, so I'm thinking in a dive resort. Any recommendations?
I think liveaboards are usually the best option, but you have to have a lot of money, and you're not going to see anything on land. No culture, no nothing. So it's really iffy. So I've been to Raja a few times, and it's always been at resorts. And in Raja, everything's islands. So each resort pretty much has its own island, and that was awesome when I went there. I can't tell you what dive resorts I've been to. I should, but I can't really remember. But they're all the same. You know, you could get budget to luxury, and I mean, most resorts, like mine, had its own island and then a little jetty for the boats, and you could actually dive right there. And I saw the walking sharks, tons of critters, and then they take you to Pianemo, and every famous dive site around the area. If you want to go to Missoula, you have to have a really long liveaboard or stay somewhere else closer to Missoula. But you don't really need liveaboards. I hardly ever take them, even though they are awesome. But when I was at the dive resort, they also offered land tours. So we would go to like Arboric Village, Arboric Island. We would dive Arboric Jetty, but then we also hung out. They had like a cultural performance, dance, like all that stuff on the island. There's just a ton of stuff you get to do that you never do on a liveaboard. And if you're with somebody that doesn't dive, like you said, they will like it way better. They can sit on the beach, some of the best beaches in the world.
Hey Justin, what camera do you suggest for entry level photography or videography use? Small and durable, but highly user friendly.
Oh man, there's so many cameras. Entry level, it's got to be a GoPro. Your biggest problem with the GoPro is steady, because it's such a tiny surface area that no matter how steady you are, even if you're the best diver ever, your footage, that's the biggest challenge, is making it not shaky. So if you can master a GoPro, then you can move up to something else. The next would be like a compact camera, which I have DSLRs, but I still use my compact cameras. So I highly, highly recommend a Canon G7X 2 or even 3 now. I started with the number 1, and I love that thing. I just kept using it. Even with my expensive DSLR setups, I would just stop. I mean, that thing is, that just the housing, and that's not even my only port. Just the housing for the DSLR I use it take up my whole carry-on. And then I have another dome port, then I have the actual camera and different lenses, the lighting, the everything else. I just highly recommend, if you can get good with a GoPro, move up to a G7X or an Olympus TG6 or whatever it's called. They take insane photography. If you get good at those, then you can start getting into the big money stuff.
Hey Creator Hunter, what type of equipment do you use to shoot your videos?
So what I shoot my videos with, I kind of just answered, but I usually love my G7X2, a Rec C or Nauticam housing. I really like the aluminum housings, not the polymer plastic housings, but whatever, you can get whatever. So I got the G7X. It comes with I'm gonna make a whole video about this sometime, but I have wet lenses. So I have macro wet lenses. I believe I made a video about one of them, but you could stack them, and they go on the outside of the housing, so I could do it underwater, which I love. That's another thing about DSLR setup. I either have to go for macro or wide angle. I can't do both because I have to set it up inside the housing on the camera. But with the G7X too, I screw the lenses on the outside of the camera. And then lighting, I think I did a lighting video. I have 2 Kraken 5000 lumen video lights. I only do video. I have a tray, a handle. What else? I have a tripod. That's my biggest secret for smooth video is my tripod. I'm not going to show you that because I'm too lazy to go find it right now, but I'm going to make a gear review just for my tripod because that thing is awesome. And then I also use a GoPro sometimes. It connects to the top of my housing, and I can get wide angle, or I can turn it around and film myself talking, whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much what I use.
Can you bring Judaea when you are diving?
Can I bring Judaea along? I do. I always bring her on dives. She just doesn't always dive. She just recently got certified open water certification, and she was really good, and she loved it. That was the first step, because you never know if somebody's going to like diving or physically can do it or whatever. But she was super good, really, really natural, really good underwater. So we're hoping to have her go on some of my dives. Right now with some of my sponsors, it's already sorted out where I get to dive with them or with whoever. So now I need to start sorting it out with press trips or whatever, where there's two of us instead of one. So that's the only reason she's not in more underwater videos. But we have a lot of plans for the future. We'd like to get full face masks where we can talk to each other, talk to the camera, and that'll be on the video. I'd like to start teaching her underwater photography so she can film other stuff, because sometimes I don't want to waste time. I want to find as much stuff as possible at every dive. I don't know. Yeah, hopefully you'll start seeing more of her. So I think that's about it, guys. This video is probably getting too long. Maybe I'll make a part 2. If you guys want to ask more questions or follow-up questions in the comments under this one, then do it, and I can make a part 2 if I get enough questions, plus the questions I skipped on this one. But thank you guys so much for sending in yours on my Instagram stories or here on YouTube. I love it. Thank you guys so much for your support. Make sure to hit that subscribe button below, and you'll see me very soon on the next video. See you guys.
Yeah.
Subscribe!